Graham Barrett lives in the city of Richmond in British Columbia, Canada, and regularly likes to walk through the woods near his home. But one evening in May, after the area's warmest day of 2017 so far, his enjoyment was swiftly curtailed when he heard the most disturbing sound. Barrett is the owner of 2 dogs whom he often exercises in the woods. And while these strolls are usually fairly uneventful, he knew there was nothing usual about their walk that evening when the 3 of them heard that sound. To Barrett, it sounded like the muffled whimpers of an animal in need. So after looking down an embankment to a clump of trees where the noise seemed to have come from, Barrett could make out a black and blue suitcase. And the suitcase was moving. In that instant, Barrett realized to his alarm that there was something alive in the suitcase. Remembering that he had come out without his cell phone, the dog walker instead attracted the attention of a passerby and asked them to urgently contact the British Columbia Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Frustratingly, however, they were unable to get through to the SPCA. So while at a loss, and knowing that time was a factor, Barrett decided he would have to take the suitcase home. As a result, he carefully wheeled the suitcase along with him on the 5-minute journey to his house, trying his utmost not to upset whatever poor creature was trapped within. Once Barrett was home, though, he investigated the suitcase properly. It was of a medium size, had a hard shell and was secured with 2 padlocks. Considering this, and where it was found, it was obvious someone wanted whatever it contained not to get out and not to be discovered. Then Barrett decided to contact the town's Mounties. But while he was waiting for the police to arrive, he managed to break open one of the locks. At this point, he began to feel anxious about the suitcase's contents. "I was thinking, I hope this is a domestic animal and nothing more dangerous or sinister, such as a person," he later told the local newspaper, the Richmond News. Nevertheless, the brave Barrett continued in his attempt to break the suitcase open. It had been such a hot day that whatever it was inside must have been suffering terribly. And while the other lock was stubborn, his efforts eventually revealed what had been imprisoned within. "I poked a hole big enough for air to get in. It looked like a dog inside," he added to the Richmond News. When the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived at the scene, they helped Barrett finally break the suitcase open. The moment they did so, out jumped a terrified and filthy apricot-colored miniature poodle. "My wife immediately scooped him up. We gave him some food. He ate it so fast, it seemed like he hadn't eaten in a week," Barrett revealed. "He seemed perfectly fine apart from that, even though it was very hot out there. I then showed police where I found him and they took him to RAPS." Once at RAPS, the Richmond Animal Protection Society, staff named the shaken dog Donut. They discovered he was a male and approximately 6 years of age. Later, the organization gave an update on his condition via a statement on its website. It said that the dog had been found covered in feces and urine but was otherwise in good health. It added that the animal had been well looked after and recently groomed. Heartbreakingly, though, the organization added, "We believe he had been in the suitcase, on the hottest day of the year so far, for 3 to 6 hours. Furthermore, experienced RAPS staff members were positive that whoever imprisoned the dog had done it intentionally. It had 2 different sets of locks on it, which is just crazy," RAPS chief Isle Lickman told animal-themed website The Dodo. "It's one thing to lock a dog in a suitcase, another thing to double lock it, right? The suitcase is being held by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police as evidence in the hopes that it can help apprehend whoever is responsible," the statement on the RAPS website added. RAPS has notified the Animal Cruelty Division of the BC, British Columbia, SPCA. There is no reason why this type of cruelty need happen. However, what had happened to Donut was far from clear. Because the dog was so evidently well groomed, Lickman and his staff were certain he was loved before he was imprisoned in the suitcase. Consequently, they believed it may not have been his owners who ditched him. The minute he recovered, he was just the friendliest, happiest dog. He was very well socialized, Lichman explained to the Dodo. "We're not even sure if the actual owners of Donut know what's going on, and that's why we've done a media campaign to see if we can find the owners. This sounds more like a revenge situation because the dog's so well kept." Meanwhile, as police began looking into his past, Donut settled into life at the RAPS shelter. And he seemed to rather like his new surroundings. "He's getting a lot of loving from staff and volunteers and a lot of playtime," Lickman said. "He's in Doggy Disneyland." If they eventually track down Donut's owners, the Mounties and RAPS will be sure to check them out thoroughly before returning their dog. However, if they fail to find his owners, the shelter will put Donut up for adoption. And there is already one person who has taken a keen interest in the little poodle. Donut's original rescuer, Barrett, would like him to join his family. But seeing as he already has 2 dogs of his own, his daughter would be the one to sign the adoption papers. And, if she does, the intention is to rename the toy poodle Lucky, in a nod to his incredibly fortunate escape from his suitcase prison. If you enjoyed this story, then wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. The man watched the sea creature from the shore, but it moved far too quickly. Soon, it was in the shallows. He therefore waded out into the water hoping to get a better picture, but he didn't expect it to come any closer. Then, suddenly, he felt something touching his feet. On August 10, 2014, a YouTuber called AllisonMoo uploaded an incredible video on social media. The astonishing recording captured a wild sea animal swimming just offshore. However, the mysterious creature seemed surprisingly interested in what was going on over at the beach. As the creature moved closer to the shore, the person making the recording, presumably AllisonMoo, followed its journey on camera. The animal was clearly a powerful swimmer, and in no time at all it had made its way right up to the beach. What's more, it had company waiting for it when it arrived. Naturally, a beach like this one, on British Columbia's Vancouver Island in Canada, was host to a group of people. And as the animal reached the shallows, they were ready with their cameras to capture the moment of its arrival. But not content with a simple snap, curiosity led one person to venture out for an even closer look. The man in question was standing in the water when the animal came closer. Incredibly, the creature actually approached him first. No doubt the beachgoers were stunned by what the wild creature did next. It swam right up to the man and rolled over like a dog expecting a belly rub. The camerawoman was just as surprised as everyone else. "Look, it's rolling around in the water," the woman exclaimed, and she watched on as it swam right up to the man paddling in the shallows and bumped up against his legs. And despite the close proximity, the creature just floated around, seemingly unnerved, as the man gingerly reached out to pet it. "That is so super random," the camerawoman said as she observed the playful creature from a distance. She knew what the animal was, though, and asked her companion if he'd ever seen one before. The curious creature was, in fact, a sea otter. The playful otter brought more people from across the beach, and the filmmaker herself went for a closer look, too. The unexpected marine visitor didn't mind the attention though. In fact, it seemed very comfortable in the presence of people. What's more, it even allowed its human playmate to pet him. Next, the otter weaved around the man's legs for a while until finally its curiosity got the better of it. The little guy decided that it just had to investigate its new friend a little bit more closely. And the audience watched on in amazement as the sea creature tried to clamber up the man's leg and even gave him a couple of playful nips. However, the otter got a little over-enthusiastic in its play, and one little nibble caused the man to yelp. And although most of the crowd found the otter's antics entertaining, one of them was a little more skeptical. In the video, the worried bystander can be heard in the background voicing his concerns. "It's quite a powerful animal," he said as the otter nipped at the man's legs. "If he bites, that would be," he paused, but another man finished his thought for him, adding, "not a good thing." Luckily, however, on this occasion the otter was just happy to play. After investigating the man's foot, the otter decided that playtime was over and headed back out to sea. And the animal knew the perfect way to end its performance, floating on its back as if to say goodbye to its new friend before continuing on its journey. It's no surprise that after being uploaded, the video became a viral hit. In fact, it has reached over 2,900 views and over 3,000 likes to date. The comments section is abuzz with opinions, too. Some viewers agreed that they would do exactly as the man did in this amazing encounter. Others, however, insisted that a more cautious approach to otters was needed. Honestly, some of the better methods of enjoying moments like these are just to record it, a YouTube commenter said. "I wouldn't recommend going out and petting wild animals, but would definitely recommend just recording them in their habitat." And actually, experts seem to agree with this statement. The Vancouver Aquarium's marine mammal expert, Tessa Danilescu, told Grind TV in August 2014 that people should keep a safe distance from wild animals. "Getting close to otters and other marine mammals is dangerous for a number of reasons," she said. "They can behave unpredictably. This poses a safety risk if they use their natural defense mechanisms like teeth or claws," continued Danilescu. "In fact, those very same weapons are powerful enough to crush shellfish, and so they're more than capable of taking fingers or toes. Animals can also transmit diseases to people through close contact, Danilesco explained. And although sea otter encounters like the one on the beach used to be rare, Danilesco said that they're becoming more common. Apparently, hunting initially made the otters endangered and fearful of humans. Now that their population is growing, though, their natural curiosity is leading them closer to people. Unfortunately, the fact that otters are getting more used to human company could spell bad news for the species. After all, there are humans who aren't as gentle as the man on the beach. Danilesco also warned that their presence could become an annoyance to people. And, as Danilesco told the Metro News in August 2014, if they were to become classed as a nuisance, sea otters might have to be moved elsewhere. Even worse, they may have to be killed to keep their numbers down. The otter expert has, therefore, warned that it's best to keep our distance when we see one of their friendly-looking faces. As cool as it is, it's best to just respect animals when we're in their habitat or sharing their habitat, she concluded. And so anyone encountering a sea otter such as this one should contact animal welfare. Because while it is, of course, wonderful to get up close and personal to these gorgeous wild animals, we want them to remain just that, wild.